approver would go through our built-in workflow to either grant or deny that request to recover the password. And again, they're only going to have insight into the endpoints and the management sets that I specify. And we can get still more granular with this. We can delegate permissions on a per account basis or on a per endpoint basis if we need to. But for most folks, their existing teams are going to need similar permissions. And so our global permissions will typically suffice most of your use cases. And so I've delegated my access, and I'll go ahead and log in. I'll use my session. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Chris. And I wanted to catch you earlier. I thought we would get to it. With the authenticators, where do I set those up?
All right. In the management console, we set up our authentication servers. And in fact, when you install it on a domain member, this one's already going to be in there.
Yep.
You know, obviously best practice, use SSL. It's a lab, I don't care. And then, you know, I've got, you know, my own domain here in the house. I'm a geek. And so it's not trusted, but I can actually use credentials from that domain to authenticate. And, you know, I could even manage credentials in that environment if I needed to set up an alt admin account to connect to those boxes. Does that make sense?
Thank you, sir. Yes. Engage.
Yeah, so yeah, there's where we would set that up. And we can turn off explicit. Yeah, by default, you're going to have the domain you installed on and explicit. And so you could remove explicit if you don't need it. All right. So I'll authenticate with my session credentials, and I've actually set up integrated authentication within IIS, and so I don't need to type those in. I can just hit log on. And I do want to point out here, and I certainly recommend that you integrate some sort of two-factor authentication for access to the web console, and in fact for the delegation console as well. We can set up multi-factor there. And we'll support a lot of your industry standard two-factor solutions like RSA Secure ID or Duo, Azure MFA, any solution that is Radius or Oath compliant, we can integrate with that as well. If you don't already have an enterprise-wide solution, then we do have our own built-in two-factor solution wherein you can use your smartphone as your token. You install Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator, and that can become your token. And so you have two-factor without any additional cost. And there's something similar for PA, is there not?
Absolutely. We have it built in, one-time token password that we use Authy or Authenticator. If they need anything enterprise, more enterprise than that, then we configure for any Radius service for that.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. So I've logged in, and my page is a little bit busy because I am an all-access user. I do want to be able to show you all the bells and whistles that are available within the web console. But your typical user, when they log in, are going to see these welcome and status panels. These are configurable with any links or any messages that you want to put out to your community. Each user would have their own favorites panel where they could add tasks that they perform frequently, and so have a shortcut to a given task as soon as they authenticate to RedIM. As an administrator, I have a lot of metrics at my disposal, and so I can see things like my password ages, whether they're simply being stored statically, they're being vaulted within RedIM, or they're being managed and rotated by the solution. And I can see things like where my accounts live in my environment, what my jobs are doing, when are my users logging in, and so on. But not to get too off track, I do want to talk about your typical end user experience. So today I'm a sysadmin. I need to retrieve a password, so I can click on passwords. And then I would see only the accounts that have been delegated to me through our delegation model. And the simplest thing I can do is, assuming I've been delegated the capability, is recover a password. And so let's go ahead and pull, let's pull my 2008 server local admin password, and I'll hit recover. Here in my environment, I do make my users enter a reason and a ticket number, and we can authenticate, or I'm sorry, we can integrate with a number of ticketing systems, and oftentimes I'll already know what ticketing system the customer will use. If not, I will ask them. If we integrate, I'll discuss what that integration is. But for your typical integration, at this point, I can actually validate this ticket number, and I can check, is it a good ticket number? Is the ticket open? Am I the owner of the ticket? And if some or all of those things are not true, I can deny the checkout. Or I can simply gather this number for logging